Hey Oz,
Curtis.
what movie we watching this week?
This week we've got the love child of Titan,
Okay,
Herbie the Love Bug,
of course.
with a heavy dose of Halloween in machine form. This week we're talking about John Carpenter's Christine. Boy, he loves this car.
Yes, he does. I think in more ways than one.
That's hence the Titan reference.
Yep.
He loves this car.
He really has a special relationship with this car.
Yeah. Yeah. They didn't show the tailpipe at all in this movie, thankfully.
Yeah, we'll just leave it at that.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to
On
another
that
episode.
note.
Welcome back to Let's Talk About Flicks, the weekly podcast where we take a monthly theme and dissect it and evaluate it and try to see if we could qualify for next year's Nobel Peace Prize. I'm one of your hosts, Oz.
I'm the other host, Curtis.
And we're here with episode 102 in Stephen King Adaptation Month, and we're covering John Carpenter's Christine. I have a feeling, and I don't know, I really didn't dig into it. I have a feeling that Stephen King probably enjoyed Carpenter's adaptation of Christine more than he enjoyed Kubrick's adaptation of The Shining.
I have a feeling you're correct in that.
Yeah. Mainly because I don't know what his thoughts were, and he made his thoughts very clear about The Shining.
Yes.
But yeah, so Christine, the early 1983, when John Carpenter was still in that like bubble of just perfection.
Yes. Coming on the heels of The Thing.
Yeah. Yeah, and so he's
Escape
still in that
from
like,
New York a couple years before that. Yeah.
Yeah, where it's just everything he touches is like right in our wheelhouse. We were obviously way too young at the time to watch, but as we grow, we're like, oh, this stuff is just amazing.
Still a couple years away from Escape from L.A.
Yeah, well, yeah, like I said, every roller coaster has to go down at some point, and
has to eventually throw its passengers off into a fiery inferno.
Right. Carpenter's still clicking his way up to that first drop. So, but before we get to the meat of this movie, we do want to give a shout out to Patreon subscribers Don S, Aaron A, and Mandy K. Thank you again for your continued patronage.
Thank you.
Christine is my movie this week.
Yes, it is.
So you've got the characters.
I've got the characters. I will start again by giving just the obvious shout out to the writer Stephen King and the director John Carpenter. The cast, we got a fun cast here, Oz.
It really is.
Yes, with this movie and this kind of premise, and you look at the cast list and you're kind of like, oh, what are we in for here?
Right.
But the performances, for the most part, work. We have Keith Gordon as lead Arnie Cunningham, the nerdy boy who buys Christine and then takes an affection to her.
A little bit. At one point, I think he said showing.
Yeah. He was calling her Claudia Schiffer at one point in the movie.
Right, the Abraham Lincoln.
Or I'm low on gas and you need a jacket.
Right. Take me, Garth.
Where? We have John Stockwell as Arnie's best friend, Dennis Gilder, a former and again sort of to-be football player.
Yeah.
Who's sort of a jock, but also Arnie's best friend. So we have a jock and nerd. Yeah.
It was sweet because it really, even though it's early '80s, it's one of those rare times where it kind of bucks the trend of jocks and nerds can't coexist, and these guys do, and it's sweet. It really is.
Yep. It's 2 years before Revenge of the Nerds came out, which sealed that paradigm.
No. Yeah.
I'm probably during the course of this movie going to call the Dennis Gilder character Cougar, because because John Stockwell played Cougar in Top Gun.
He did. He played him very well.
Yeah. Several of kind of like that guy actors in this. We have Alexandra Paul as Lee Cabot, a new student at the school, who ends up becoming Arnie's girlfriend. You have future Baywatch herself, Alexandra Paul. We have Robert Prosky as Will Darnell, the local garage owner who chews that scene. Oh man,
it's even like he visually chews it. Like he'll take a cigar out and he's still
just chomping on something.
He's got cud and it's made of celluloid.
Perpetual cud.
Right.
I think that was a Butthole Surfers album too, by the way.
Perpetual cud.
Perpetual cud. Yeah.
I think it was.
We have Harry Dean Stanton playing Detective Rudy Junkins.
What a cool name, Rudy Junkins.
Not
Jenkins.
Nope.
Jenkins. Nope. That makes too much sense.
Changed it when he came over on the Mayflower. Rudy Junkins. We have Arnie's parents, Christine Belford as Regina, and then Robert Darnell as Michael. We have Roberts Blossom, a.k.a. Old Man Marley, as George LeBay, the former owner of Christine. Again, I'll probably call him Old Man Marley at several points.
And I will probably forever be confused as to what he had on as a top.
We did this last week, Oz, where we kept taking each other. That was one of my. Okay. That was one of my possible huhs.
Can you parachute into this?
Yeah, he fell down in the duct tape section of Menards and.
Yeah, sorry, I was
making a shirt.
You caught me hanging from the rafters in the barn. Like Vincent D'Onofrio in The Cell.
We have William Ostrander as Buddy the bully. Plays a good bully too.
Yeah, he's a good bully.
Yeah, he's a good bully.
He also would have been a good shop teacher if they would have cast him in that role as well.
But speaking of shop teacher, we have David Spielberg as Mr. Casey, the shop teacher. And then we have one of the bullies, Malcolm Denaire, as Moochie. Moochie. That's a good bully name, good tough bully name.
Yep.
We have Stephen Trash and Stuart Charno as the other bullies. We see. I think it's Stephen Tash is the nerd near the beginning of Ghostbusters.
Oh yeah, the one that's on Vinkman's like. Yeah, it's him and the blonde, and he keeps getting everything right, and he's shocked anyway. Like spits his gum
falls out of his mouth. Yeah, and then last but not least, we have Kelly Preston in a couple little moments here as Roseanne, as Wikipedia credits her, a friend of Dennis.
And it's such a fleeting couple of things that I didn't even realize she was there until I saw her in the cast list. I was like, oh.
And Kelly Preston's there.
And Kelly Preston's here.
So that's our cast, Oz. Again, a lot of no names or like that guy.
Yeah.
But some fun performances.
Well, and what I like about the casting here is, I mean, you rattled off several names, but it's real tight too. Yeah. Like everybody has a purpose in here. You know, it's. I mean, maybe with the exception of Kelly Preston, but really everybody you rattled off is integral to what's going on in the story.
Speaking of the story, Oz.
Yeah, starts out way back in it's like Plymouth assembly line.
Yeah.
Like late 57, we've got...
Detroit, Michigan.
We have I'm assuming an extremely cigarette-filled, cigarette smoke-filled assembly line.
Yep, they were making Camels in the plant next door.
Part of it is, did they put a sepia tone on this, or is everything just nicotine?
It's just nicotine stained. It just got into the film stock.
And so, they make... Carpenter pulls no punches in demonstrating which car is Christine at any given moment.
You think?
Every car in this assembly line is like white. It hasn't even had a paint job yet, except Christine.
Christine.
Christine is despite being on an assembly line, appears to be a fully functioning automobile.
Yeah, everything. Got the radio in there, seat belts, everything.
Who put the prototype on the assembly line?
It's efficiency. You have one person assemble the entire car.
Right.
It took that person 18 months, but they did.
Jerry needed overtime, so he went ahead and put Christine together. We get this rolling in, and we've got a guy who's just putting something under a hood. It doesn't matter. He lifts Christine's hood to put whatever part in, and the hood just comes slamming down on his arm.
Yeah, it does.
And it breaks his arm, I'm assuming, or whatever.
Very reminiscent of, and I forget the character. I think it was like a doctor character in The Thing, who had his arms clamped off.
Yes. It just smashes his arm.
Mm-hmm.
Cut to him walking away with gauze all over it because whatever. And then later on,
gauze fixes all.
Just wrap it.
Cured his broken arms.
Really wrapped in gauze. Like it was almost like they took the whole, like the old style. Like bathrooms where there was just one big towel.
Oh yeah. The bowling alley towel. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like that's what they wrapped his arm in was the entire towel,
the whole thing. Yep.
Cut to another worker, and I don't know why, but every time I see this movie, and I know it's not the same guy because they don't look anything remotely alike, but the guy that sits down in Christine's driver's seat always reminds me of like the large black man in UHF that has like the big eyes and he just gets surprised. I don't know why, but he does.
Yep, the guy who's like chugging the entire thing in coffee at UHF.
Exactly. So guy sits down and Christine starts a song and he flicks ashes into her
ashes all over the back seat.
And then they later on in the day, I'm assuming, somebody comes through the assembly line and sees Christine's still playing music. So they open the driver's side door and this man just falls out of the car dead.
He's dead.
So Christine's not even off the assembly line yet and has a death count of 2. Well, 1. 1 in an arm.
Yeah.
She's got a taste for blood.
Yeah. She's got a taste for blood.
So we fast forward about 2 decades.
Yep.
And we this is where we meet Arnie, really. Cougar. We'll just go with Cougar.
Arnie and Cougar.
Right. Cougar's picking Arnie up for school. And Cougar's driving his blue whatever car. It's a nice sportsy kind of muscle car. And Arnie comes running out and like he's just this poor guy.
He's just oozing nerd. His like hips and shoulders are everywhere as he runs.
He's wearing a cardigan and he's got big glasses on, and his mom had packed his lunch, and
it's kind of slicked hair.
You've got yogurt in that. He drops the garbage bag on his way out, and like stomps through the mud puddle on the way to the car. Like he just. And and Cougar's just kind of rolling his eyes. It's his best friend. Like he loves the kid, but he realizes he's just hopeless and whatever. They get to school. There's some hoopla about the new girl. Mm-hmm. The new girl, and and naturally, and it is the '80s. So let's just be crystal clear here. All of these teenagers are easily 25.
Yes, they're all. Particularly Buddy the Bully, who's got to be in his 40s.
Buddy the Bully is like the 80s version of Craterface from Grease. It's like he's still in high school, but he has no hairline.
Yep.
Just way too old for this. And so, have you seen the new girl? Arnie can't get his locker open. Cougar helps him out. I mean, really sets the dynamic that the only reason Arnie is not being attacked by everybody is because his best friend is the quarterback. His best friend is the football player. Word gets out that Buddy and his gang, which really just consists of 3 other guys.
Moochie and the nerd from Ghostbusters.
Exactly. They've got Arnie cornered in the shop.
Mm-hmm.
And, I mean, just to show the bravado of Cougar, like... I mean, he just goes to the shop and makes a very valid attempt to just defuse the situation. Like this is the school bully and his gang, and he's and Cougar's just viewed as, I guess, untouchable enough. He just waltzes right in there. He's like, "Come on, buddy, knock it off." I'm telling you to quit, so quit. Buddy takes Arnie's lunch and cuts right through his yogurt.
Yep.
And
pulls out a switchblade.
Yeah, like a big switchblade. Looking for the teacher. Cougar just sends a girl, go get Mr. Casey. Mr. Casey shows up and, quickly cleans house. Like,
yeah, he does. he lays things down. I will say a little almost too much. But at one point he lays hands on Buddy, but
and it was funny watching Buddy just quit. Like, well, he started it. And,
Yeah,
but
because you're the victim, buddy.
yeah, Mr. Casey knows better. 4-on-1. Well, Cunningham started it.
That guy, that loser over there, that nerd,
And
that piece of human filth over there.
and so he can't start anything.
Yeah, he can't do anything. Look at him.
And Hollywood style, of course, Buddy just gets expelled. Like, there's no hearing.
No,
there's no meeting with the board.
No due process. No,
because in Hollywood, you're just expelled. You're gone.
What movie was it where somebody just gets expelled like on stage? We reviewed.
It was Lean on Me with Morgan Freeman or
Was
Denzel.
it?
Yeah, was it Morgan Freeman? Denzel Washington.
It was something we covered. We haven't done Lean on Me.
Oh, was this something we covered? Yeah, I can't remember what it was.
It's not important.
But yeah, so Buddy gets expelled, which really lays down the conflict in the movie for Arnie. Because at this point, Arnie's just the victim.
Yep.
So all of this happens at school. Cougar and Arnie are driving home, and they drive by Old Man Marley's house. Like, they're just having conversation, and Arnie just flips out. Like, go back, stop the car, go back.
Go back.
And Dennis backs up, and what are you talking about? And there's Christine,
calling to him.
Looks like she's been sitting there for 20 years. Like,
yep. She probably has.
Yeah, I mean, real rough shape.
Yep.
You could, I mean, in looking at the housing situation for Old Man Marley here, the car hasn't been touched because he hasn't mowed his yard in 6 years.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's got ice or it's got salt everywhere on it from from salt in the sidewalks.
That's true. He's in on these murders, by the
way. Explain that shovel.
Yeah, tell us where your brother went. And so Arnie is just in love with this car. He sees a lot of himself in there, neglected, ignored. But
at one point he says, like, it's maybe for the first time in my life I found something uglier than me.
Right. And then he looks right in the camera and goes, "Oh, let's hear it for Arnie."
Oh, poor Arnie. Yeah, everybody pity Arnie.
And so he just straight up, "What do you want for the car?" An Old Man Marley being an old man, he's got to tell a story first.
Yeah.
As an old man, I can't just get you a deal. Let me tell you, my brother loved this car, and he loved the car, and he's dead. And 2 houses down, there was old lady, whatever,
buried in the top of an ancient Native American burial ground.
Right. And Cougar's like, "Come on, Arnie, let's get out of here. Like, this is a waste of your money. This is a waste of time." And Arnie's
he's locked in. I'm walking away with that car.
He's the car's name's Christine. And he's like, "Oh, well, I'm buying Christine. $250," and brings it home. I mean, I really don't know how he got it home, but he gets it home. His parents are like, his mom is absolute control freak.
Yeah, she flips out.
Yeah, she runs that household with
an iron
fist. And so she's just absolutely, you are not keeping that car here. And he's like, fine. So
yeah, and you get the impression that's really the first time he's ever really piped up to his folks.
Oh yeah, he's never stood his ground before, and his mom clearly doesn't like it.
Yeah,
but he's just like, no, I'm doing this. Takes it down to Darnell's garage / junkyard, where the same
cigarette / ashtray,
right? The same I think they just reused the cigarette smoke from the beginning of the movie.
Yeah, they just piped it in.
Yeah,
they just captured it in a big lad bag.
I don't think Darnell's changed his clothes in 2 weeks minimum.
Oh, you're being very generous.
Oh, very generous, I know. And so Darnell's like, "Yeah, you could keep it here." I mean, and again, Arnie has this demeanor about him that everybody just wants to bully him.
Yeah.
Like, even if they aren't necessarily a bad person, he's just so wimpish that everybody just takes him up, takes him down. Mom's always taking him down. Really, Dennis is the only one that actually gives him his due.
It treats him with dignity, yeah.
Right, right. Everybody else is, even his own parents, just look down at him. Um, and so yeah, you can keep your car here. Here's what it costs. And Arnie devotes his entire being into fixing up Christine.
Yeah,
Like
every moment he's not at school, he's there at the garage.
every moment he's free, he's there, and he's starting to change his personality. Like he's dressing better. He does away with his glasses. He gets a little arrogant. Like he's really building some self-worth.
Much more confidence.
And in a way that, like a lot of people who've never really had that much confidence, it's usually starts out as too much. You know, it just kind of gets real arrogant. But Darnell even cuts him some slack. You know, he's like, hey, I've seen the way you're working around here. You're good with a wrench. Basically, like, I'll pay you to, you know, take all you want in parts. I'll pay you to work. Like, just sweep the floor every once in a while, kind of thing. Because I have never.
I'm chuckling a little bit because he's he eventually kind of warms up to Arnie a little bit, but at first he's like Arnie's putting new windshield wipers on Christine, and Darnell walks up. You can't polish a turd. And then he gets on him like you've been taking a lot of my scrap heap. Don't think you got the gold key to the crapper.
Don't think that, Arnie.
Don't think you got the gold key to the crapper.
There's a gold key to this crapper?
Yeah. Yes, there is.
I was just coming through the front door.
And
Robert
so, like, Borowski.
he's like a Emmett Walsh.
Yes.
He just really leans into that just disgusting man.
Yeah, he's so gross. It's just such a gross character. Everything about him, he's like a mustard stain personified.
I was gonna say along the same lines of like he looks like a perpetually dirty pair of like tidy whities.
Yeah. An unwashed tidy whities.
Like they're just dingy brown all the time. And
everything's gray.
Like the elastic waistband's loose.
Yeah.
But he wears them anyway because well, there's no holes.
It's already on. Don't think you got the gold key to the crapper.
He says that to himself in the mirror
every day. That's what keeps him going.
Right. It keeps him grounded so he doesn't get cocky.
Whatever self motivation you need.
Right.
I'm gonna start telling that. I'm gonna build that into my daily affirmations. I'm just gonna stare at myself in the mirror. Curtis, don't think you got the
daughter.
Yeah, don't think you got the gold key to the crapper.
And so, as Arnie's building this confidence, his obsession with Christine just gets stronger and stronger to the point where his relationship with his parents is strained. He doesn't see Dennis as often.
Oh, he has a fun conversation with his dad at one point.
Very fun one. Like, it was very colorful.
Yes, that's one way to put it.
Like, very threatening and he basically goes Buddy Rapperton on his dad.
Uh-huh.
You know, grabs him by the collar, like he's got him in a chokehold.
Yeah,
and
he's literally choking his dad. Calls him an MFer. And like, oh my goodness, Arnie.
Yeah, I mean, he's not wrong. I mean, Arnie is here, so. But yeah, I remember you texted me and you're like, I forgot about that. Like, wow, yeah, he's in. Like, Arnie is locked in. He has another conversation. Or no, Dennis goes back to Old Man Marley, and is basically like, what's going? Like, he's completely changed with this car. What's going on? And he tells him, he goes, my brother's the same way. Yeah, just obsessed with it.
Something about that car. Something about Christine.
Yeah, it's like his 5-year-old niece choked to death in the car. His sister-in-law and brother both committed suicide. Like, that car is trouble. It's like, that information would have been useful the other day, Mr. Old Man Marley.
You don't want to take that car up there.
Don't go that way. That's pretty much what it was. It's like, I'll show you where the car is, but up here you bury your own.
But they should have cast Fred Gwynn in that part.
It would have worked.
And Fred Gwynn is Old Man Marley in Home Alone. In full Munster makeup and regalia,
big Frankenstein boots. And so we had mentioned Lee Cabot earlier of being the new girl, and she's new. Of course, every male in the school is predatory. Dennis is trying to play the long game, trying to play it cool. Arnie makes his move. Like, we don't know about it yet until like we're at one of Dennis's football games, and apparently Arnie, while he doesn't have the golden key to the crapper, apparently he does have front row parking.
Yeah, he just pulls right up to the end zone.
He's basically parking in the end zone. Yeah. And he's just making out with Lee.
Yeah, just right there.
And Dennis, he sees him there, and he kind of gets his clock cleaned, and he's injured now, so he's got more time to focus on Arnie. This is the first time that Dennis has seen Christine also. Like, Christine is fully restored now. Arnie has, Arnie's completely revamped. I mean, it's just a brand new car, basically. Yep. She looks like a brand new car. Arnie's done a fantastic job. Arnie's probably had a little bit of help, too, but that's okay. Arnie and Lee have a relationship. Again, Arnie is just taken over. He's the just the new stud at school in his own mind. Like, his self-confidence is winning him some bets, and he's taken full advantage.
In the meantime, Dennis is in the hospital.
Yeah, he's in the hospital because that injury where when he's supposed to be running for a touchdown, and he instead watches his best friend make out with a girl while he's running with a football.
I'm pretty sure Steve Atwater was out there playing for the other team, just lays about.
Ron Woodson was a high school student.
Ronnie Lott was playing for the other team.
Exactly, just bulldozed him, puts him in the hospital, and his high school football career's over.
Pretty sure it was Hacksaw Jim Duggan.
Goldberg speared him right there at the goal line.
Right there. Roman Reigns jumps in.
He didn't hear Hacksaw yell, "Ho!" from halfway across the field. Just takes him out.
Cougar takes a 2x4 to the back.
Right. Savage dropped an elbow from the goalpost. And all of this happened, by the way.
It's all in there.
It's all there. Theatrical cut.
Yeah.
Well, Arnie and Lee are spending more time together. They've got a relationship, and everything. We really haven't seen much of Christine at all. She's been at Darnell's. So now Arnie has got Christine out, and Lee is there, and they go to a drive-in in the rain. And Lee just has a feeknow, she's just really uncomfortable with Christine.
Something's not right.
It's just, and there's really, I don't know, just a vibe, I guess. But I mean, it's in the script because it's like I'm watching it and I'm like, it's not like the car is making your seat rattle or anything. Like, you're just uncomfortable in this car, probably because she's a high school student. Well, supposedly a high school student, and just is jealous of Arnie and his passion for his car.
Yeah, you're just jealous of Christine.
Right, and he's getting real short with her too. Like, he's very protective of his vehicle.
Yes, that is putting it kindly.
It's important that it's raining here because Arnie gets out to fix a windshield wiper, and while he's out of the car, the radio turns on by itself, which we've seen happen. And it's playing that 50s rock and roll music that we've seen before.
An eerie green glow, too, from the radio.
Right. Like, Christine cranks up the backlight of the radio to 11, and scares Lee. She starts choking on her food.
Yeah.
Arnie sees it through the windshield, tries to get her the driver's side door open, and it's locked. He can't get in and save her. She eventually gets herself out, and like another guy who happened to be walking by grabs her, gives her the Heimlich, and she just straight up tells Arnie, I'm done with the car. I'm not getting in the car again.
Yeah.
And so that's the first time we've really, outside of the opening scene, where we've seen Christine just have some personality, I guess. And it's always showcased by music. It seems like, the radio carries on some song whose theme or title ties into what's going on at that current moment.
Arnie turns to Lee after all this has happened and says, I think you're just sexually frustrated.
Right. It's the only excuse you have for choking on a hot dog.
That's got to be what it is. You just can't get enough of me, baby.
I'm picking up what you're putting down.
That's exactly what it is.
She's like, no, I'm just done with your car.
Yeah.
I give Carpenter a lot of credit here because he planted so many seeds early in the movie with Buddy and the gang and Lee moving to school, whatever. And then we focus on Arnie and his evolution. And then we drop Lee back in. And then we drop Buddy back in. Because here we've got a scene where Buddy and his gang go to Darnell's. Real, kind of a fun scene where they sneak in and just destroy
Yeah,
Christine.
they do. Sledgehammers and tire irons.
Like,
just take her apart.
Absolute destruction of Christine. Because they're angry at Arnie, and this is what they're going to get back. They're going to get back. Arnie shows up. I mean, they're gone already. He comes in and sees that his car has been destroyed. So he's very distraught that Lee's trying to comfort him because she's his girlfriend. And I'm done with you. Like, breaks
he shoves her.
Yeah. Yeah, he's so angry because his first love, Christine, has been damaged that he's like, I'm done with you.
Yeah. And you didn't like Christine to begin with.
Right. He's talking to his parents about it. He blames his mom because it's her fault. If you would have let me park the car at home, this wouldn't happen.
Yeah. Starts lashing out at other people.
Yeah. His dad even jumps in, we'll buy you a new car. Like, we understand how important it is to buy you a new car. And like, Arnie just insults him and walks away. I'll fix Christine.
Yeah.
Basically, I've done it once. I'll do it again. I'm going to fix her.
Back at the garage, they can't hurt us anymore. Not if we work together.
Right. Exactly. This is where his dad tries to follow him and like punish him for the way he's been talking to his mom. And this is where Arnie
just chokes him. Both hands around his throat. Just chokes out his dad.
Like, he's got his eyes just bugged out. And he's like, I'm going to bed. I'm going to bed. But yeah, you're right. Then he goes back to Darnell's alone. And this is where Christine reveals that she can fix herself.
Uh-huh.
And it's a really cool scene to watch. It's all done in reverse, but it's such a cool scene to watch. To watch all these dents pop out and these broken glass reform, and it's just a really fun scene to watch.
There wasn't a guy inside the car just hammering the dents out in real time.
No. Yeah. He had on a green screen suit so they could edit them out.
Yeah.
And,
faster, Herb.
So, in a matter of like 45 seconds, Christine is cherry again.
Yep.
Perfectly fine.
Brand new.
And now the Halloween piece comes in.
Yes.
Carpenter.
This is such a fun sequence.
It's like you feel so bad enjoying it, but it's so well done.
Yeah.
Christine just goes on the prowl.
Yeah, she does.
She knows who damaged her, and she's out to get him. That night, she goes out on the prowl and she comes across Moochie. How she knew where Moochie was, I don't know, but she found him.
Found Moochie.
And it chases him around the town. It doesn't even matter what town this is. I'm sure it's in Maine, though. Chases him around the town, and like he goes down this really thin alley in an attempt to like escape from Christine because she's like on the prowl. And Christine just like drives into and then continues to drive, just basically tearing away,
crushing herself. Yeah.
To get into there to him and pins him against the wall and kills him. And then it's like we see the car doing it, so it's tough for us to know if Arnie's behind the wheel or if Christine's operating alone. The next day, Detective Junkins. He comes to question Arnie about Moochie's death. Plays the small talk game. And of course, Arnie's got so much confidence that, Arnie's in over his head. Junkins lets him go.
Arnie's the real victim here, right?
Yeah, it's always Arnie, And again, once he found out, he's like, well, those guys deserved it. Like, I didn't do it, but they deserve
they had it coming.
They had it coming. And we fast forward to Christine targeting the rest of the gang. Like, Buddy and the guys are at a gas station, and this reminds me a lot of RoboCop. Like when RoboCop's chasing down the gang at the gas station.
Yep.
Christine, like Buddy pulls in, the guys get out, and then Christine just comes wheeling down, veers in, and just T-bones the car. Nobody's in it, but of course, T-bones the car, blows it into the garage. It's leaking gas. Fire starts. Gas station explodes. Buddy's running away on foot, and this easily is my favorite scene of the movie by far. Christine comes following Buddy, and she's completely engulfed in flames.
Yes,
she was there when the gas station blew up. She's engulfed in flames. He's sprinting down the road, and she just runs him over.
Yeah, like Mad Max style.
Yeah, and his body's on fire as he's laying dead in the middle of the road, and she just drives off into the distance, fully engulfed. It's such a Carpenter move.
It's
so
such
cool.
a fun sequence.
She comes back to Darnell's just smoking, like she's been on fire, obviously.
Smoking hot, that Christine.
Yeah, she is. Darnell's there. He gets very confused because he sees the car pull in, and clearly it's worse for wear. There's no driver. And he's really confused by it, like burns his hand trying to open the garage, trying to open the
it's still smoking.
Driver's side door. So he climbs into the driver's seat, just wondering like what's going on. Radio turns on. The driver's seat starts moving towards the steering wheel and basically crushes him against the steering wheel, and he's dead.
The golden key to the crapper.
Not the golden key.
Golden key to the crapper.
You can't polish a turd. The police get to Darnell's. By the time they find the body, Christine is perfectly fine again. Like she's repaired herself. Junkins is again questioning Arnie, who he gets mad. He gets angrier and angrier. More alibis, etc., etc. Lee and Dennis are the only, outside of his parents, the only two people that still care. And again, another one of those where Carpenter has veered away from Lee and Dennis long enough that when we bring him back in, you're almost like, oh yeah, those guys. Like he does that with the parents, he does that with Buddy, he does it with Lee originally, he does it with her again. It's like you're just so into the movie that when these other characters pop in, you almost forgot about them. So Lee and Dennis are basically, they've got an idea. They've got an intervention planned. Because they've decided Arnie's not the same person, and it's Christine. We got to destroy that car. So they got a plan to get Christine to the garage, and they're going to smash her with a bulldozer. And they're ready. Like, it's going to work. Dennis is in the bulldozer. Lee's kind of in Darnell's garage. They can't find the car. Christine then comes out of a pile of scrap metal.
It's hiding.
Playing
possum.
Lee takes off on foot while Dennis and Christine have a bulldozer car fight. Arnie's now driving, though. Arnie's driving Christine. So he's attempting to run Lee down. Christine runs into the office, throws Arnie through the windshield. He gets impaled on some broken glass.
Yeah, he does.
As he's
pretty
dying,
grisly looking,
because Lee's like right there. As he's dying, though, he reaches out and like caresses Christine's like the grill, like that's my love. Christine, angry now that Arnie is dead, she continues to attack, repairing herself faster than before.
All in like real time.
Like Dennis and Lee do end up getting her cornered with a bulldozer, and they get her cornered. We the next morning or whatever, we see Christine get crushed in like the scrapyard, like she's crushed into a cube.
Gets cubed.
Junkins is like, job well done, kids.
Way to go, Gumshoe.
It's like Carmen San Diego's escape. We'll get her next time.
Is she in South America?
Right. Hit it, Rockefeller. And so, yeah, Junkins is almost like, well, I avoided having to do any paperwork. Nice job, kids. They feel bad because obviously Arnie was sacrificed.
Yeah, their best friend and boyfriend is dead.
Yeah, and then we get a fun little end here where they hear 50s rock start up.
Mm-hmm.
And it like, obviously, understandably, terrifies them. And then there's just a junkyard worker walking by with like a big boombox.
Yeah, because who carries around a boombox over their shoulder and doesn't play 1950s like sock op music
at work?
Yeah.
But while they're paying attention to that, they don't notice that Christine's grill twitches just a little bit, and that is the end of our movie.
That is Christine.
Oh,
as bad to the bone takes us to the credits.
Yeah, it's true. A little, yeah. George Thorogood and the Destroyers.
Yeah. Hey, folks, at this point in the show, Oz and I each give our own unique rating about the film we've been yapping about. 1983's Christine, 40 years old as the time of this review.
Yeah.
Back in 1983. Hey, Oz, how would you rate this flick?
I'm going to give this 58 Plymouth Fury.
If that makes complete sense.
So that's what she's getting from me. What are you giving it?
This didn't really come up before. I think it's going to come up again, perhaps in our 3-2-1s here. I'm going to give this 74 third-party crotch grabs.
Oh, yeah. Moochie. Good old Moochie.
It's his go-to bully move. Because when I'm in a fisticuffs with somebody else, my go-to move is to grab them by the crotch.
I'm gonna tweak him. He puts Dennis in. He puts it basically in a chokehold with one arm, and then
grabs him down there with the other one.
Gives him the old Oscar Mayer.
Cougar was in a lot of pain.
He was. Oh. And Moochie, hey, it's effective.
Yeah.
When you're basically already scum of the earth, why not?
Yeah. Why not go for the crotch grab as your finisher?
That's true.
That should be a professional wrestling finishing move.
It would have been like Bastion Booger's finishing move.
What would the signal to the crowd be? Yeah, because good wrestlers have like a signal for what's coming.
Hip thrusts.
the old Val Venus ravishing Rick Rude.
Yeah, a bunch of hip thrusts, and then you give him the old Oscar Mayer.
The old 5-finger rotator.
There you go.
Yes, you just hold all 5 hands up to the crowd.
Or you just yell, "Turkey's done," and then
the opponent just sprints to the back. I'm done. I submit. I'm done.
The turkey's done. Yeah, I don't see. There probably weren't many professional wrestlers that would have been okay with that as a finishing move.
Requires a lot of trust in your partner there.
It'd have been a real tough sell.
I can see Vince McMahon walks into the locker room. All right, fellas, one of you is going to get our new secret move.
Yeah,
call it the 5-finger discount.
Yeah, and who was was it Johnny Be Good? Was that like Mark? Was it Mark Miro?
Yes, yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
God, Johnny Be Good.
Yeah, it's like you're flamboyant enough in your role. This is going to be your finisher. Adrian Adonis is like, hey, that's mine.
I can see that being like just with the androgyny angle, that being Goldust's finisher.
Oh yeah, exactly, Goldust.
It's just how pseudo-sexualized that character was.
Gorgeous George or something like that. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it would have been a good Goldust finishing move for sure.
It could have been Lex Luger's alternate move, also called the torture rack.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Moving on. Next up, folks, we've got enough talk of crotch grabbing. Next up, we've got Outside Insight. Oz and I have been scouring the interwebs, searching for unprofessional reviews that tickle our funny bones, and we hope they tickle yours as well. Oz, what is your Outside Insight?
I have an Outside Insight and a comment on the Outside Insight.
Okay.
So it's a 1.5-parter here.
Got it. Okay.
This is a 0.5-star review from Drew Toothpaste, left on Letterboxd.
Drew Toothpaste.
In March. He says, "Don't like movies about high school. Make the car give powers to a 43-year-old and it's a lot cooler. Who would I run over in the new car? Or whoever gets to drive it, but they should be 43 years old." And the comment from Senator Meow
I think I voted for Senator Meow.
says, if they made that today, the car would be like a 2003 Sebring. So I'm glad. I like the conversation that Drew Toothpaste and Senator Meow were having. Meow.
I think Drew Toothpaste ran against Senator Meow and lost.
That's probably rubbing it in. Yeah. I'm Senator. But yeah, whoever gets it, they should be 43. Like,
yes, yeah.
Whoever gets the car. So that's my outside insight. Oh. You watch this movie and your first thing is, I don't like these kids are high school kids.
Nope.
This needs to be a 43-year-old man. All right, Drew Toothpaste.
All right. They'd make more sense if it was 43.
All right, what do you got?
Well, I got a couple here, Oz. So humor me while I rattle through some, all from the Internet Movie Database, all 1 out of 10 reviews.
Okay.
This first one comes from DMC Master in September of 2006. Everyone's seen this movie. A great concept, that of a car imbued with evil intent. Carpenter's direction is so typically lousy that it makes the movie a parody of itself. The people in the film rarely act even remotely as real people would under the circumstances. Their protagonists,
in real life.
Yeah, the protagonists are often seen standing around waiting for Christine to do her thing, rather than react like any normal person would.
I took a poll.
What would you do if a cherry red 57 Plymouth or whatever this is comes to life and tries to mow you down while engulfed in flames?
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah. So my next one is from Cinephiliac from March 2019. Oh no, a car is going to get you. Just go inside any house or building or venture into a wooded area and your terror will subside. Most people are aware that safety bollards exist. Those short vertical concrete posts will stop any car. If your anxiety begins to become too much, you can also just keep some tire spikes in your pocket. I carry breath mints in my pocket.
I think this guy is like an insurance actuary or something. Like, we can minimize all risk. Just carry tire spikes.
Yeah, it's Jake from State Farm.
Yeah. Oh.
Or Patrick Mahomes.
One of the two.
Yeah.
Chris Paul.
My last one is from El Borneolus 18. Regarding the rest of the film, it could be named American Garbage. It helps to understand why shrinks are so successful in the USA. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, because bad film and success in mental health go synonymously.
Yep. Yeah. Okay.
That one was left in July of 2020 in the thick of the pandemic.
Oh, okay. So, you guys alone.
Yes, this person has clearly been alone in their apartment for months on end.
Yes.
So those were my outside insights. As I found them to be fun.
They are fun, and it cracks me up that people will watch these movies and then that's their train of thought.
Yeah.
Of like, this movie was terrible.
Yeah.
There's so many ways this could have been avoided.
Yeah. How come Moochie didn't have tire spikes in his pocket?
God, what an idiot! Why didn't he just run for the forest?
Yeah. or fight a concrete bollard.
Yeah, head to Target.
Hide behind those big red balls.
Exactly. Just go to Target. Christine can't hurt you at Target. Oh my!
You're out of Q-tips too, so you may as well stock up while you're there.
2 birds. Moochie.
Not die and get Q-tips.
That's him. Yeah, man. Swabs.
All right, hey folks, it's that point in the show you've all been waiting for, our signature segment, the 3-2-1, in which Oz and I each share 3 goods, 2 bads, and 1 about the film in question, 1983's Christine. Oz, my friend, what are your 3 goods?
I was really impressed with Keith Gordon's performance in this movie.
It was great in this.
Yeah, he was great. I've seen Keith Gordon in a couple of other things. He's fine. Mm-hmm. He was in a movie with Rodney Dangerfield where they were both in college and on the swim team. And he was fine. You know, it's like he's serviceable. But he really did a great job in this movie.
Yeah, he was really good at this.
You know, and knowing the range of his performance as well, that he had to be dweebish and then later on uber confident. Like, he really did a great job.
Yeah, he sold it. I'd say he sold it well with his nonverbal performances as
so
well.
kudos to you, Keith Gordon.
Yeah.
And an excellent chokehold on your father as well. My second good is, and I mentioned this back in our first month, just the look of a Carpenter film.
Yes.
It has a vibe, it has a tone, it has a look. And I even went back to check the DOP to make sure it wasn't I had it right before I said director of photography. I had Dean Cundy, just to make sure it wasn't Dean Cundy again, because it just had that vibe. But yeah, the look of a Carpenter film, and this movie had it, and I just love it.
Yeah.
And 3 is, and I mentioned it earlier, Christine's stalking scenes.
Yeah.
When she's chasing down Moochie, when she's after the rest of the game. They're really just the two of them, but they're just so much fun.
Yeah,
like, just tense, and you're kind of on the edge of your seat. You know what the result's going to be, but it still was just a fun little ride. So those are my 3 goods. What do you got?
My first good, I'm also going to call out a performance. This was a smaller scale one. Christine Belford as Arnie's mother. Mm-hmm. Not a lot of screen time, but like, she was stone cold, and she sold that well.
Yeah, she did.
Yeah. So, tip of the cap to Christine Belford as Arnie Cunningham's mother. My second good, let's go, the special effects of Christine fixing herself, how they did that, with like inflatables and bladders and reverse editing, and like there was I guess like plastic parts that they used that they could bend and shape as well. But just, it looked real. It looked authentic to me.
It did. It looked great.
Again, this is pre-CG. It looked amazing. So yeah, just those effects were great. And the last one, this movie is intense.
Yeah.
Like, it goes along with your Carpenter good there as well, but like, this movie has an intensity to it. Like, it literally and figuratively just drives. Like the scene where I know we've called it out a couple of times, but the scene where he starts choking his dad, like, oh man, like they're arguing, and then he starts using the F word at him, and then he just puts both of his hands around his dad's neck, and his dad's more shocked than anything else.
And when he drops those F bombs, like, they're sharp.
Yeah, they are.
They are pointed and daggered and deadly. Like, they are sharp. He's chosen that word specifically and used it.
Weaponized it.
Precision.
Yeah. So, it's super intense movie.
Yeah.
In all the best of ways. So, yeah, those are my 3 goods. Hey, Oz, what are your 2 bads?
My first one, and I mentioned it earlier, the age of the high schoolers. Like, it's an 80s trope, whatever, but it's still, like, Arnie, sure. Honestly, Cougar, sure. Like, they matured early, whatever.
Yeah.
But like, Buddy Rapperton, come on. Like, he's
paying alimony to 2 ex-wives.
You're gonna convince us he's a high schooler? Like, he's clearly, like, he's going to be kicked out of school on his 21st birthday.
Yeah.
Like,
he's gonna age out.
He's there. And so, yeah, it was comical. Even Lee was, they tried to dress her down as, giving her, a skirt and high socks and trying to make her, like, look more high school-ish, but it wasn't working. Like, the high school kids in this, like, they all hung out with Mr. Casey anyway, because they all go to the same AA meetings. And my second bad is... how Mr. Casey was like manhandling Rapperton. Like,
I originally had that at both a good and bad. In the good one, he didn't back down to him right away, but then the bad, like, you can't put your hands on a student.
No. You're devaluing your case. For expulsion. Yes, he had a switchblade, but you've got witnesses that, like, you grabbed him by the shirt collar and backed him into a table. Like, and he wasn't physically aggressive towards you. He was in your face like any angry kid's going to be. But there was a power struggle here, and Mr. Casey lost it. So that's my second bad, is like, you can't do that to kids, even in the 80s. I know there was a day where you could paddle kids, and that, it's dark to think that, like, our parents went to school when you could paddle kids.
Yep.
And we've come a long way. And
Yes.
you'll have old timers make the case. It's like, well, you know what? The world today wouldn't be as, these kids would be tougher today. They'd be more disciplined today. And
Yeah, if you just physically abuse them.
yeah, if you lead with fear, then yeah. And like, well, let's try to move past that. So
It's called discipline, Oz.
that's true. That's true. It's not fear, it's discipline. So those are my two bads: The Age of the High Schoolers and
Yeah.
Mr. Casey's handling of Rapperton. What do you got?
I'm gonna say my first bad. This movie, again, it's an '80s movie. It's got misogyny. It's got homophobia. At the football game, it's got white kids dressed in Native American regalia. Like, yeah, these are all bad things.
Yeah.
So, '80s misogyny, homophobia, and white people dressed as Native Americans.
If I mentioned that the school district I work in's mascot is the Indian,
I'm aware.
okay, and that we,
Yeah.
we had Mr. Indian 2 weekends ago and put a headdress on a boy for being Mr. Indian.
Probably not the best of moves.
I agree, but I don't make the rules and policies around here.
Uh-huh.
You get the community to change their mind.
No. We'll sick Christine on him. There's a town next to me that has the same mascot as well.
Yeah.
And there was also a town, the next town south of the town I grew up in. I don't know if it's still the mascot, but at one point it was the Redskins. And yeah.
Remind me, and I'll tell you about one that one-ups that one even after the show. I don't want to drop it here on the
Is it a suburb of Peoria?
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Yep, I'm
Okay,
aware.
so you're aware.
I'm aware of that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one takes the cake.
There's certain restaurants in that town you can go into, and there's still like newspaper articles
I'm sure.
and jerseys on the wall.
Yep. So for folks who are curious, just do a quick Google Maps search as to suburbs of Peoria, and if one happens to share the name of a very large Eastern Asian city, yeah.
Yep.
So that's one big bad. My second bad, I was debating whether to put this as a good or a bad because I both love it and it's annoying at the same time. I'll include it here just because I want to include it. Just Robert Prosky.
Fair enough.
Can't polish a turd. You got the Kayla to the crapper.
Right. Yeah, I mean, to be fair, that garage was his kingdom.
It was. He was its prince.
Yep.
So yeah, it's both a good and a bad, but
Right.
we'll call it a bad just because I want to include it. Robert Prosky.
Exactly. I got you.
All right. Well, hey Oz, what's your one? Huh?
In the finale, how did Christine cover itself in all that debris in the climactic showdown? When they're looking for her, and Dennis is he's in the bulldozer, and Lee's standing out in the middle of nowhere, and then suddenly Christine drives out from underneath a pile of scrap.
Yep.
It's a box of scraps.
Box of scraps.
How did Christine cover itself?
It was Obadiah Stane was there.
Right? Now, I mean, I know Arnie was driving the car, but the point still is, how did Christine cover itself in scrap?
Yeah.
That's my huh.
They were keeping it up on the rafters. It just fell.
Yeah, I guess. So that's my huh. How did Christine cover itself in scrap?
Box of scraps. In a
Don't
cave.
start it in a cave.
In a cave. Oh, I love it. Poking Christmas Story right in the chest.
Take that, Peter Billingsley.
Football. What's a football?
So, what do you got for your huh?
My huh. We kind of mentioned one. I'll give my huh runner-up. We kind of mentioned it earlier. Like, what is Old Man Marley wearing? You know, it's like I've heard of like duct tape, like tuxedos and like prom dresses, but like he's just wearing like a casual like duct tape shirt that he made for
like
himself.
ahead of his time.
Yeah.
Maybe he's a night cycler, and that's his
reflector. There you go. It's
vest.
safety. It's his safety vest.
That's why he doesn't drive Christine. He knows she's dangerous.
Yeah, it's safety first for old man Marley.
He's a night cycler. I just made that up. Is that even a term?
It should be if it's that. My real is why don't more movies have gratuitous fighting crotch grabs?
I don't know why they don't.
I mean, it was proven effective.
It's an effective move, and they filmed it like
yeah.
Moochie is like, Dennis, you cool if I do this? One take. You get one.
You get one, and the actor who plays Moochie is like, yes.
Cougar looks over at Carpenter. He's like, one. I said one take, John.
Contractually, you get one crotch grab.
I will do this one time.
One
and then
time.
we have to come up with a plan B. Like chokehold, a rear neck chokehold, and then punch me in the ribs or something. But
yeah.
I will give you one wiener pole. That's it.
Just one. One.
When John looks at Moochie and goes, make it count.
You better give it your all on this take.
And after that poll, he was still sweaty in Top Gun. Those were the flashbacks that he was having when he couldn't hold the plane.
That's why he was having a hard time laughing.
It wasn't about his wife and kids. It was about high school and Moochie grabbed his joke.
In the cockpit instead of a picture of Haley.
It's all reminded him like this is the worst place to be.
It's just a picture of Moochie's hand. Oh my god.
It's the Dean Stockwell Cinematic Universe, folks.
You're coming at too hot, Cougar.
We said the same thing about Urban Cowboy. When Sissy Spacek refused to work because she didn't get along with John Travolta because of the way he treated her in Carrie. These actors hold grudges. That's why they go on strike.
Yep. Oh my god. No, I'm never going to be able to watch that scene in Top Gun the same. He just looks at the picture of his family. It's just Moochie's hands.
Like a super dramatic, tense scene, and we're just going to laugh at it.
Oh my god, I'm crying. I'm like streaming tears down my cheeks.
Like Maverick yelling, Moochie, pull back. Why can't you?
You tell that to Moochie. Oh, the trauma. There's also the scene in Christine 2 where they're making out in the car. There's two gratuitous crotch grabs in this movie. So there's multiple grabbings of groins.
But there's no boobs. So
no.
Carpenter's evolving as a filmmaker.
Lots of headlights, but no boobs.
That's true. We saw Christine.
Yeah.
She never had him up. Never covered him up.
Yeah, they were out there.
Those people who have like the Cars franchise or their favorite movies really love Christine.
A little too much. Again, we never see the tailpipe. We'll end where we began.
People are like, I know how Arnie's feeling.
Yeah, I hear you, man. So folks, that's 1983's Christine. Oh god! Hey,
what do you got next week?
Next week, I don't know how we're going to top that. However, we're going from a fun John Carpenter movie. We're fast forwarded just a couple years from '83 to I believe '86. And we're going to a film that Stephen King not only wrote but also directed. Yes, folks, we are going to the Emilio Estevez starring Maximum Overdrive.
Yeah.
Oh, what a bonkers movie!
This really is just an AC/DC music video.
It is, yeah. It's a music video with terrible acting.
But it's so fun.
And no plot, but some fun sequences.
Yeah, it's fun. Like,
and a disappointing amount of crotch grabs.
Yes, as in probably none. Yeah. I feel bad that of everybody involved with this movie, Stephen King's the one that can't remember it.
Yeah.
I wrote it, directed it, planned it all out, shot it, and I was so coked up I don't have a clue.
Coke-fueled fever dream.
No idea what happened. So he watches it. It's like, this is a great film.
Whoever directed this did a great job.
Top notch.
I give it 7 crotch grabs.
Right, so. Oh, well, that wraps up our Christine episode. We, like you said, we'll be back with Maximum Overdrive next week. Social media-wise, you can find us Facebook, Instagram, and X, formerly known as Twitter.
Sure, why not?
Whatever. We get like no traffic through there, so
I've basically stopped using it.
I don't really go to it either. I occasionally just to see what pops up, and then I share it. There may be a day where I just quit posting to it because whatever. But yeah, so we'll be back. Social media wise, I already told you, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Patreon link down below if you would like to add to the fun, because we have fun on this show.
We do.
We take a murderous car and turn it into wiener jokes.
We take a man at an existential crisis in $1 billion jet holding a picture of his family and laugh at it.
We just chuckle. So he landed safely.
He did. He did.
So, but no, next week, Maximum Overdrive. We're halfway through October already.
We are.
And a fun month for next month.
Yeah, yes, we do.
That in a couple of weeks. So, all right, for Let's Talk About Flicks, I'm Oz.
I'm Curtis.
And we'll see you guys next week.